To that wonderful introduction, the reason for my current position started from a few conversations with a very talented software developer who was trying to look for his next wonderful opportunity. He is a very successful serial entrepreneur, if you will, and he thought he was retired as well. We got chatting one day, and some of this became it took on a life of its own by the nature of the needs that we were both identifying from two different avenues that were really in the not-for-profit space regarding technology, and the challenges around having data that you can actually make actionable and make work for you. That resulted in conversations that followed that my chance to work with him in this capacity really has created this wonderful opportunity for me. And the real deficit that I was coming from was healthcare is so rich in all kinds of data, fingertip access, and it's data that you have a high degree of confidence in. In the not-for-profit space, there were so many disparate systems. The challenges around that really resulted in data that I didn't have a high degree of confidence in, or difficulty actually even mining it in the first place. Used to refer to that with my staff when I was at Volunteers of America as really living in Excel hell. Several different systems, maintaining them all was in of itself a challenge, and the opportunity for the staff to be doing what they loved most, which was interfacing with clients, was clearly affected by the number of hours that they had to spend in actually seeking data and having data work for them. So with that, I was asked to actually participate today and talk a little bit about how data can really tell your story. More importantly, if you have the ability to take data and mine it efficiently and mine it thoroughly, you can not only just tell your story, but you can prove your story. So the industry as we know it, and this is an industry that you are all participating in some capacity, is very large, and the challenges around that is this is where the heavy work is happening. There are over 300,000 not-for-profit organizations that are actually receiving tax dollars to help care for the individuals they're serving. There's about 146,000 in the health and human service aspect of care, 103,000 in the social and stability service of care, and almost 50,000 in network and association. Just some of the industry lead areas are here. You may find yourself falling into one or several of them. What I found in my time in the not-for-profit space was really that our agency, much like many of my colleagues, was touching upon many of the key areas. It wasn't just an area serving those that were trying to move to self-sufficiency. There were also components of mental wellness or mental illness that were being addressed. The challenges around addiction, the challenges around homelessness, the challenges around just having a population that is frail or vulnerable. And because of that, because you're dealing with individuals who really are at risk and really very vulnerable, the need to have data that can help you make good strategic decisions about how to serve them best is really essential. And the industry as you know it, because you live it every day, and I knew it when I was there, and which was really the impetus for moving into trying to create this platform, is that it's changing. It is in tremendous transition at this time. In fact, the social service industry is a $1 trillion business, and funders now want data that's going to not only help to demonstrate the return on investment, but also demonstrate the impact for not-for-profits. Additionally, 64% now of not-for-profit organizations have seen an increase in the demand for transparency in funding in the past 5 years. And this push is coming from the donor and the philanthropic side of your business. The challenge is now donors want to make sure that the investment's going right to the most effective place, and the return on that investment is something that they're seeking. The inability to really demonstrate that for your donors and your funders really puts the agencies at a great disadvantage. So showing impact, one of the things that we found through Continual Care Solution is a very deep dive with customer discovery. And we heard from our customers a very significant and very profound message. There were clearly pain points that each one of them were identifying and articulating. The challenges basically were around the ability to track and demonstrate their impact. 73% of not-for-profit organizations actually struggled with this ability to track. And additionally, 2/3 of them, if they could track it, the ability to actually demonstrate impact. We have a couple poll questions that I think might be just wonderful to have your feedback on. And if we could put the first poll question up, that would be great.
Okay, I'm sorry. Let me jump in here just because we're working on a few things here. So it's the very first one. How difficult? Okay, so as you should be seeing on your screen, the first poll question, which is how difficult is it for your organization to demonstrate its impact? And we got a choice of easy, moderate, difficult, or very difficult. So if you have a moment and can select from those choices, we'll get a sense of what some of the struggles are that all of you are having. We're getting everything from moderately easy to difficult, trending more toward the difficult. So it sounds like they're all sort of right in your sweet spot.
So the wonderful thing that I know and that all of you know is that your work is very powerful. It's very important, and that you are having tremendous impact. The challenge and disconnect is being able to take that information and share that with your donors, your funders, and your regulators. So the fact that many of you are already identifying the fact that it's moderate to difficult just again reestablishes the challenges that we're facing today in this space. Most of that has been because most of the technology that's out there is either extremely expensive or it's not designed for the not-for-profit world, the community-based organizations. Additionally, another key challenge is that the software that is available creates yet one more silo. So it's really essential to have integration be part of your platform as well. And we'll move right on to the next poll question.
Okay, and our second poll question, some of you are jumping in ahead of us, which is good. How difficult is it for your organization to analyze the data you are collecting? Easy, moderately easy, difficult, or very difficult? We've got someone who said, oh, I'm sorry, and then we've got two other options, which are we are collecting data but not analyzing it. That's always a good one. And we are not collecting data or analyzing it at all. So we're getting trending toward difficult with a few people saying we're collecting, but maybe we don't know what to do with it, or we just can't figure out how to get the analysis done.
Yeah, and again, you know, it's a shared area of concern and a shared area of difficulty that we found with the research that we are citing as well. And again, the data is there. It might be in multiple systems. It might not have that link together. And that's really where it becomes a powerhouse for you to take the data and be able to put it in one single source of truth. So to demonstrate impact really comes from the fact that you take your data and you can actually mine it in a way that helps you to then in turn tell your story. And I think we'll move to the final poll question as well.
And then our final poll question, thank you, is how difficult is it for your organization to actually collect the data? Easy, moderately easy, difficult, or very difficult? So you seem to be getting somewhere between moderately easy and difficult with people. So it sounds like maybe they have some systems up to collect data.
Probably, exactly. I think that's what we're hearing as well. And thank you all for participating. Again, it really helps to us all of us to focus on, you know, how do we help to make this part of our work easier? Again, the desire to be in this space, to serve at this capacity, means that we care greatly about these missions. And caring about those missions gets actually really, what makes us all feel good about that is interfacing with the client and not struggling with trying to make the technology work for us. It should work for us. We shouldn't work for it. So again, tracking and analyzing the things that we have touched upon, and certainly what the polls have demonstrated for this audience is that the key areas that can be greatly impacted are, as you see here, risk reduction is one of the key things. Again, with multiple comorbidities, with a highly vulnerable population, situations can be individual situations, or you can have systemic situations that you are trying to be aware of and improve. And the ability to manage that well with multiple disparate systems becomes even a greater challenge. The ability to increase funding, the opportunity to make sure that the good work you're doing gets told in the stories so that you can take that information and apply that into a grant, which will strengthen the opportunity for it being awarded. Navigating managed care changes. For many of you, value-based payment is something that is certainly on the horizon for all of us. But if you are now being reimbursed through any of the governmental systems, the ability to take your work and demonstrate that in data results in you being paid for that. We know that money is being left on the table. Many of the services that are being provided are just part of the good work that you do. And the inability to track that, it ends up being really a deficit at the end of the